All right, good morning on this bright Saturday. Bright is off word to use today on a rainy Saturday here on this beautiful Charleston day. We're doing tongue-tied with myself, Mr. Coleman, Mr. Taylor. Our hall monitor today is not here. She's busy out saving the community. So, Kristie Love, good luck to you out there. Hope you're staying dry. Shout out to you as well. Shout out to, like I said, those that are suffering the storm coming through up north above us in North Carolina. Just talking about further flooding. So we're going to get on to today's subject. Today's subject is colorism in the black community. People understand, we know when it comes to colorism, we have the light skin jokes, the dark skin jokes. What is your take on colorism? Ever, do you want to start with your definition of colorism?
Sure,
Let's rock with it. We'll go that way.
I think for me, colorism is when you use, it's kind of like using something against a person. It's like putting that preconceived notion that person is a certain way because of the color of their skin, or saying that they're not up to par because of the color.
Like light skinned people being too pretty sometimes to do certain things.
You know what they used to say back in the day, man. You acting light skinned right now.
Yeah. They say that now. They don't say it back. They say it now, man. What are you talking about?
Some girls used to say, man, you better. Like a dark skinned man, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there you go. Or like a certain friend of ours used to say, them bands,
Exactly, the band.
Them bands out to get all the women.
Yeah, bands get all the women.
Yeah, you mean, we ain't gonna say what the band stand for. It's BAN for y'all know, but just dark skinned fellas like myself. So yeah, he was a hater. What's up, Stuart? What's going on, man? All love, But yeah, but all serious aside, I mean, do you feel that it's just as prevalent or more now than it was back when you were coming up?
Honestly, I think it's coming back stronger, and the reason why I say that is because right now, when you look at the way our conscious community is being driven, it's actually being driven all across a color line. And it's not necessarily against other races.
I wouldn't say a color line. You seem more like our pigment line, if you want to say.
Okay, pigment line. I like that. We'll do that line. We'll do pigment line. And I always think about this. When Colin Kaepernick started doing his kneeling and everything, his protests, somebody came out and made an interesting statement about him. And that was Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis said, wow, he must have an identity crisis because he's biracial. And it's like, wait a second, why is that an issue if he feels like this is a topic that he is passionate about, that he wants to stand up for? Why is his color coming into play? Also, if you think about Dr. Umar Johnson, which is very interesting, I have no issues with him. I like the prevalence. I'm going to go see him in Wilmington in November. He started using that where he says, I don't respect people who are lighter than me of mixed race. And you're like, but your heroes are. Yeah. More importantly, when he started talking about, how he don't respect black men who date outside their race and this and third, he forgot to leave out the person that he claims he's related to, Frederick Douglass, who, by the way, married a white woman. Yeah, but you remember, he was like, oh, Frederick Douglass. And then someone called him out on it. They say, he ain't no more Frederick Douglass.
Of course.
So when we look throughout our history, we have always had people who look lighter than us fighting the fight. And if you remember, last week we opened up with school days.
Yeah, and I was about to bring it. We'll touch on that a little down the line.
So but you see that in our community. You see how we're so driven with the color. Whereas even one of the comments last weekend was, "Why do black men prefer light-skinned women with long hair?" And it's like,
I don't.
That's my point. But sometimes we confuse that with what we want and not what want us.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and I think that's why you start seeing it coming up more and more, where to the point now we're starting to have that divide, especially in the conscious community, where you're starting to see, well, if you're mixed race, you can't be a part of us, or if you're lighter than us, you're not really for the cause.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, why?
Why? I don't know. That's a good question. But my take on colorism is more or less, like I said, it goes back to where, the brown bag test used to be. Hey, if you're a certain pigment above or beyond this pigment of this paper bag, you can or cannot be affiliated with this group.
Exactly.
It's often there's often jokes about it.
Of course.
You know, there's often jokes about amongst the community, as you say, about, you know, how we look at one another. And sometimes the lighter skin, lighter complexion are looked at as the weakest at times. You know, but like you said, in the past they've been the most vocal though. You know, and that's, you know, and it's like you said, it's kind of odd that at times it is true. You know, like you said, Malcolm X. You know, everybody says Huey P. Newton. You know, but the thing is, we always should try to unify and always be on one accord. That should always be the importance of everything. And you know, and it's something that is always going to be an ongoing effect. You know, because like I said, when it comes down to us as a Black conscious community, we always don't want to try to be a one united voice. We want to be that one voice. Right. You know, and it's always a thing it's always going to be a thing to divide us, and always going to continue. And it's something that's going to be a constant fight, if I want to say. Right. You know, because of how we were brought up. Because it goes back to even in slavery days. You know, when you was on the plantation, as they say, or you know, as it was, the lighter skinned slaves get treated more better than the darker skinned slaves. Right. You know, and it was often as a way to set everybody apart, to set everybody in their place. You know, as is, okay, since you of a lighter complexion, guess what? We'll treat you more humane than we would the darker skinned slave. So in other words, Myshawn, they treat you just a little bit better than they would treat me. Right. You know, you might get one extra biscuit, you know.
I'm glad you brought that up. Because we look at it from that angle, but let's look at it from the fact that person who's of lighter skin complexion and how they feel being treated that way. Not all of them accepted the fact that they were being treated different. A lot of them, it brought shame and hurt to them because it divided their family. Of course. You know, when we looked at the movie Roots, and when the later version of Roots, which is called Queen, starred Halle Berry, you know, we saw how it affected her and her family, and how, you know, coming from what we would consider a rape situation and being accepted in that area, how it divided that family. So it's not always, you know, them benefiting from it, because we look at it as them benefiting from. Now, true, a lot of them have benefited from it. We're not gonna lie. That's just a part of life. But some of them have really been, it's more of a curse. Yeah. Because it's like, I didn't choose to be born this way. Of course. But because I'm born this way, you think I'm a certain way. You're privileged, or you set on a certain path. Exactly. You know? And they're starting, and I think a lot of them, that's why, you know, a lot of them, I think, fight harder. And a lot of them go harder because they're trying to prove to us that they're worthy. That they're worthy. Yeah, I think that's what it is. You know, like a lot of times, man, that red boy trying to be proven himself to be tough. That's why you notice all of them. They're the ones. They're the leader of gangs. They're the ones that are they always super masculine for whatever reason. Exactly. All of them rappers. They're trying to be super masculine because what they're trying to do is they're crying out for help, because they're like, when I was growing up, you didn't accept me. Because like times they're being bullied, separated, ostracized, if that's the word you want to use, you know, because of, you know, their complexion, the color, the hue of their skin. So my thing is, now, do you feel that a lot of things that we see on TV, movies, often a lot of times point them out and rather try to, they kind of often magnetize them? You know, like for instance, like have you seen the movie and the TV series Dear White People? I haven't yet. You need to watch that. It's a very good take on racism and colorism as well. Because there's a couple of characters on it. There's interracial, like talk about interracial relationships. One girl who comes from an interracial relationship, and there's actually one girl. She has a colorism problem within herself, you know. And like I said, a lot of times it's not with other people; it's also within ourselves as well. Of course, you know, and that all takes off another itch of the self-hate thing, you know, because there's certain things about us, you know, like I said, our physical things that you don't like. You know, there was this one character, based on the TV, the series and the movie. She just wasn't. She felt that her complexion
set her on a certain path that she was looked at in a certain way. You know, like I said, the setting's on a college campus,
Right.
so it made it really easier to follow and understand what was going on.
Right.
You know, and she basically disliked, you know, how we acted or how we carried ourselves, you know, which is understandable. But then she also didn't like how she looked. She felt she identified herself with a different group, except her own, you know. Or she chose to identify herself at certain times when it benefited her.
Exactly.
So, so right now, got a customer. But yeah, it's a lot of things out there. And then you also bring it back to school days. You know, the thing where they had what was the name of the group? It was
the Jigaboos and I
was
forgot
the Wallabies or something? No, they called them
Wannabes. The Wannabes and the Jigaboos.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, they had a conflict amongst themselves about them being the light-skinned girls against the darker-skinned girls.
Exactly.
You know, and then, for instance, like you said, the two light-skinned guys, the two main characters, you know, Lawrence Fishburne and my man,
I can't think of his name. He's always in everything.
Always in movies.
It's like you said,
Gabrielis
and stuff like that.
Yeah, he was the two light-skinned guys proving themselves to be the stronger black male amongst the group of darker skinned.
And then you know what's crazy about that? There's a scene in that movie which really kind of was powerful. Was when Lawrence Fishburne was talking to his girlfriend. Yeah. And she said, "I wonder if the only reason why you going with me is because I'm one of the darker sisters."
Yeah.
And he thought about it because it's like you out here, you got to prove this image so much that you choose to go with her. And she didn't feel like he wanted her, but he wanted what she represented.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times that's what happens when we go into colorism. You know, people be like, oh, that color would get me a certain status, whether it's darker or lighter. Sometimes people do think like that. And I know we had conversations about this all the time where people will say, I prefer this because this is better. And you're like, well, what makes it better? And the only thing they can say is the color. And you'd be like, the color doesn't make nothing better.
Because people, regardless of your color, the shade of your skin, we're all the same.
Right.
Regardless, we act. Behaviors are all similar. There's nothing because you're darker. I feel you know how to carry yourself better.
Right.
Or because you're lighter, you know how to represent yourself much better. You know, like you said, it's more of to them a status thing. You know, oh, okay, well, I got this little light skin thing on my arm, long hair, beautiful eyes, certain build, you know, and hey, this is all I need. You know,
right.
I'm on top of the world. I'm king now. You know, this is what I strive for.
You know, you said something about this TV affected. I would say as of right now, we are our worst enemies when it comes to television because. Especially I made this comment before, and I said it's crazy now. If you look at all our rappers' videos, there is no dark-skinned woman in there.
No.
And when you think about it, it's like, okay, what's the problem here? You know, I'm not against what you want in your video. That's who you want.
Exactly.
But when you start seeing a trend where everything is lighter than me, and you're like, wait a second.
But I think it goes back to now that everybody wants that exotic look, and within that, but now you got, like you said, the lighter skin is black, but it's still exotic black. Yeah, exotic black.
You know, I heard Lovely T use it's ambiguous.
Ambiguous?
Yeah, it's ambiguous. She used that word, so I'm gonna give her credit for that one.
Okay.
You can't really tell what they are. They match everything, and you know.
And I think it's kind of the same way in commercials as well, because as you look. Like for instance, the Cheerios commercial. Remember from a couple years ago?
The man, the black man, the white woman, and the child. Where you could be like, I don't really know who that child belongs to.
Yeah, you know. Or for instance, the Cosby Show. Remember the Cosby Show? Everybody, it's a big joke amongst us. Is that, oh well, damn. Well, wait a minute. Well, Cliff is of this complexion. Claire's this complexion. You can understand Rudy, Theo, and Vanessa, but then you got.
Sandra,
the oldest one, and then what's Denise.
Yeah.
You know, they were the two lighter ones. You know,
Love you, Denise.
You know, but that's the thing. Like, wait a minute. So whose child really? Where are they? Who they really belong? You know,
milkman child.
Yeah, you know, something like who do they really belong to? Type deal.
That was before, you know, that was before the man. She took them on. That was part of the one of the women from 40 years ago, children.
Oh, okay, I got you.
I love you, Bill Cosby.
I got you.
But the crazy part is when we look at the color is, you know, I was always taught this. No matter what you think you identify with, if crap hit the fan, they're gonna put you on the boat with the rest of us.
Yeah.
You know, that used to be the joke with Paula Abdul.
Yeah.
No matter how much she said, I'm not one of you. They was like, if that boat pull up, you're gonna be on that boat with us.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that, you know, we bring it amongst ourselves with TV. It's funny. Nicki Minaj and she made the comments like, oh, you know, the Cardi B thing, and she's like, and she used colorism in it. And I was like, that's funny because technically y'all the same complexion. And if you really look at her now, you're lighter. So when you came out, that was what was said about you and why you was winning because you was lighter. Yeah. So it's like, it's funny how now I'm saying you want to identify with us when it's against you, but you benefited from it.
Yeah, exactly. There's those that'll pick and choose when they use. Like, you know, I guess it goes back to like you said, if you watch the movie, the girl. I'm not gonna tell how the movie, but pretty much in the movie, the girl identified, and like I said, she used it to her advantage in the movie. The character I was talking about that it was having a conflict within herself about her color and the complexion of her skin and her people. You know, it's pretty much she picked and chose when she wanted to use that to her advantage. You know,
and I understand that because if you look at TV now, and I always tell people, TV is our worst enemy. Actually, all media right now is our worst enemy, not just for African Americans, but for everybody. Because what they have done is they have gave a portrayal of what we think people are. So when you see a lot of dark-skinned people on TV, we're portrayed in a light that's not flattering. So when you see light-skinned people, and I always say Tyler Perry's big guilty of this. The dark-skinned man beats the woman, and the light-skinned man comes saves the day. All oiled up too. All oiled up. He ain't got it's like 20 degrees outside for some strange reason. He's oiled up with his shirt out coming to save the woman. Why is that, Tyler Perry? You tell me. Call me. Let me know why is this happening.
He might call you.
Don't call me. But we see that and it's like, wait a second. You know, why Blair Underwood got to be beating women all the time? I mean, I you know, I don't want to, you know, I don't want to get hood, but you know, he's a very attractive man. Why he got to be beating on the women? But why the dark-skinned man has always been portrayed in movies, even in New Jack City. Why Wesley Snipes had to be portrayed that way?
He put us back. He put us on the map, boy.
Exactly.
Wesley wilding, boy. Wesley setting it off.
We see a trend with dark-skinned people always being put in a light where there seems to be more of a criminal element. And then the light-skinned person always seems to be the one saving us. And it's kind of weird in that aspect, even for women. And I say women have it harder because you're judged against people that don't exist. And right now, I'd say across the board, and for women across the board, I think they're judged to something that's not existent. And I saw this thing. It's a black doctor, and he was a plastic surgeon, and he looked at this woman. She was a lighter complexion, and he said, "How would you want the Wonder Woman built?" And he built her, and he built her to say that's the perfect woman. So how can a person who's darker, who may have flabbiness on them or anything, compare to that? Yeah. And I think that when it comes, and that's the problem now. That's why you see a lot of women, they're getting lighter. They're bleaching. I won't say bleaching. They're doing certain things to their skin and things like that because they're trying to compete with someone that doesn't exist.
Yeah. Okay. So like you said, I was actually clarify exactly what they mean about what doesn't competing with what doesn't exist. I'm sorry. It's early, very early days. So
you know the people, and when I say that, you know, these people who are famous don't exist. They're not real. And when you start seeing
So you mean Nicki Minaj is not real?
She's not real.
Idris Elba's not real?
He's real because he's ashy. Have you seen him? He's ashy. Like he looked like he needs cocoa butter. Like women be like, oh my god, and I'm like, even in movies, he look like he need cocoa butter. He need to be sponsored by Jergens. He's ashy.
No, Palmer's.
Palmer's cocoa butter.
Palmer's
That's what he needs.
Yeah.
Cocoa butter. But you start seeing, where these people who like don't exist, and you're starting to see people trying to be like them. All of a sudden, we got to get lighter because they think that that's what men want. And once again, I tell people, when it comes to certain things, you can't go off of your experience with a small group.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what's going on too. We got experiences with small groups. That's why you find people who say, I don't trust people who are lighter than me. Why? Because I had a bad experience. Well, that just happened one time. Or people, I don't trust dark-skinned people. They're up to no good.
Because we're not up to no good. That's why. We never up to anything good. Especially get like 4 or 5 in a group. That's an army compared to some people.
Oh, y'all wearing Timbs?
Oh, we wearing Timbs, Jordans, whatever. Shit, I got my 9 in my back pocket right now, man.
What I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying?
That's how I roll. And I got to go meet with 4 of my friends now. We about to go to the something.
And I just think, and I think that's. And it started with the news throughout, growing up. You see it on the news that the darker skinned person always gets treated a little bit different and things like that.
Yeah.
And I understand it's hard to want to be associated with a group of people, especially now where you're in a generation where you could be whatever you want to be.
Yeah.
I can be 6 foot. You could say, Myshawn, you're not 6 foot. No, I'm 6 foot. And I'm going to prove to you that I'm 6 foot. I'm going to go get it put on my license. And they'll do it. And then you'll be like, oh my God, he's 6 foot. They're going right. Because you could be whatever you want to be. And the problem is, like you said, when you can be whatever you want to be, what is the standard? And in our community right now, we're so divided and hateful towards each other based on the pigment line, where we're like, either you're this table or you're this cup, but we can't be together. And it's like, what nationality has separated themselves in one? That's why we still begging, because we're so busy fighting these internal battles. Like, oh, because you lighter than me, you think you're better than me. You don't know nothing about me. Yeah. And we have seen that. Matter of fact, women will tell you, you sit down with a group of women together, but you pull them to the side one-on-one, they'll tell you, man, they treat me different because they think I want their man because of my hair, my color, my complexion, like I chose to be like this.
Yeah.
And that's where we have to start realizing that's the problem. When you have your leaders, like Brother Polite, like Umar Johnson, the list goes on, where they're kind of using that, and I always say, race peddling, because these are the cliques that would get you the group that you want. And I always tell people, we got to be careful of who we follow, because this is what they use to get us in there. So they keep us divided, because if you're divided, you listen to them. Yeah. Because once you are clear mind and clear conscious, sometimes you'll look at people and be like, yo, that stuff is bull crap. But when you start realize, they keep you divided, they're like, on this side, you this color, so they're not for you. Well, that don't make sense, because we have had people who didn't look like us for years that have said, despite what people think, the civil rights movement was not won by Martin Luther King. It wasn't. Truth is, it was won by Lyndon Johnson when he signed that bill. Well, yeah. By the way, it's a bill. Always remember, we are not under the Constitution. We're under bills. Women, you're under a bill. You have the same amount of freedom as us. None. So stop it. I'm telling y'all, we on bills. That means the country charged us with something. Think about that for a moment. They tell you the Constitution represents us, but how come we had to come on bills? Native Americans on bills, Irish on bills, women rights on bills, African American rights on bills.
Let's stay on subject here. Stay on subject.
Because these are things when people be like,
overall effect.
Yeah. You're trying to tell people, man, they fight, we fighting. And when you realize, and I always tell people, we so busy fighting amongst ourselves because you dating outside your race, I had no respect for you, instead of looking at them
or dating outside your pigment color.
Exactly, pigment color thing. I had no respect for you, and it's like, whoa, you know what? If we come together, we won't have to beg to have a seat at the table. We could be right now. We could have what the percentage of people who are smaller in this country. Once again, there are a percentage of people who are smaller who control more. We are not the minority. We are the majority, but we keep acting like the minority because we keep having these issues within our community. Self-hate, colorism, ghettoism. That's coming soon. Yes, ghettoism. We are going to hit y'all with the ghettoism.
Oh, okay. Something else. I got you. Something else. Yeah, I gotta hear this one. Very interesting. So overall, do you think that it's something? In your opinion, do you think it's something that we all be able to overcome? It's going to be an ongoing battle. So in my opinion, I think it's always going to be an ongoing battle because there's always going to be a reason somehow to divide. Right. And that's going to be the main thing. The main focus always is, that light skinned so and so, he just trying to show out. He trying to be, in the spotlight, And also, someone else pointed out to me, like one of the little rappers, that in the little favorite group is, Migos. How they said, like, one of the main members is being pushed out there because he's the more lighter complected.
Quavo.
Yeah, I guess that cat. So yeah, he gets the features, he gets the main run. I think he has an album or something coming out.
Yeah, even looking at Ray Trimmer.
Yeah, who?
Sway Lee.
Yeah,
Sway Lee.
And he's only slightly lighter than the other guy, which is crazy.
And it's not taking away from their it's not taking away from who they are. It's not taking away from their talent, but the benefits of them having.
You really want to call that talent?
For this generation.
Okay.
This generation's talent.
Okay.
Like I tell people, is Cardi B winning because she is a lighter complexion? Yes. Who will lie? We cannot sit here and say that because we have seen women who have been darker with more talent. I love you, Cardi B. Divorce him and come to me. And with more talent, that has not won. I'm a big Azalea Banks fan, and I always tell people I love Azalea Banks. She is the worst person on earth, and I love her because she is self-destructive.
Because she's dark skinned?
No, because she plays both sides of the field, and this is where we're going to talk about the double standard rule coming up soon too. It is okay for black women to date outside their race, but it is frowned upon for black men to date outside their race. And that's what it is, because she'll tell you quick. She don't date black men.
Oh, okay.
But you want to be black power. But then you get mad when you see a black man with somebody lighter. But then you use that and say that you're not winning because you're not lighter.
Oh, okay.
That's
okay. I don't pay attention like that because every time
exactly. That's the point. You cut her off.
You do, yeah.
Wonderful music, by the way.
I don't care what complexion you are. If you do any kind of ignorance, I try to. No, that's all right.
But see, that's a whole.
Yeah.
But now people attribute dark.
Because ignorance doesn't have a complexion. Ignorance is ignorance. I'll be honest with you. I ignore all the time, but I can not ignore sometimes.
Oh, I have my Negro. I have that little Negro in me. I call him Jamar.
That might be another personality. You can do his own thing, man. So yeah, we about to wind down here. So like I said, colorism is a thing that and like I said, I feel it's not only in the black community, it's in every it's just about every race. I know Asians is very prevalent amongst Asians as well.
Crazy because they're Miss Japan. I don't know if it's this year or last year.
She's half black. She's half black.
She identifies with it, and she was like,
because even like I said, just a quick thing in Japan, like they have this thing where if you're not fully, I forgot what the thing is. You're not fully Japanese. It's like you kind of get shunned,
right?
In a way. Now they're not gonna. You pretty much get treated as a second-rate citizen,
right?
But the crazy thing is, when what's her name? Osaka, when she won. Oh yeah, of course.
Oh yeah,
of course.
Matter of fact, they made a joke about that on Wikipedia. She was black before she won.
Exactly.
And then after she won, she
exactly. So Lance, so let's be clear. Like colorism is not just a black thing. It's also could be Asian thing.
Especially Caucasians. And the reason why I say that is because Caucasians do something that, and they have it within themselves. They tell you you look like Casper. You need some sun. And they tell you that. They be like, I'll be like, what? I'm gonna pay to get dark. Why you want to get dark? You're winning. But because in their culture, and then if they see someone light, they actually go against them. See someone with freckles. Ooh, you got freckles and red hair.
Yeah, but overall, you know, like I said, we're not saying that it's right and it's wrong. It's just it has a place in this world. It has a place in this community. It has a place in everybody's community. But you know, once again, that's a fight that's going to be ongoing. Like I said, in my sense, it's nothing that's always going to be an uphill battle. You know, because it's something that's been instilled since. Slaves have been in this country, so I'm in a good book to read that really brings that to light is the Breaking the Curse of Willie Lynch.
Yes,
I had the book. I bought it. It's a real good book. It's something that you should read. Check it out. And it breaks down, you know, how things came about amongst us. You know, from the crab in the barrel theory to the plantation light skin, dark skin thing. So it's, like I said, it brings a lot of things to. It makes you, like I said, I do often a lot of times do a like an inner, like, hey, you know, wait a minute, I did say, you know, I do a little go back. How you say it? What's the thing?
Self-reflection.
Self-reflection. Yeah, I don't know if I'm having problems more. Self-reflection. You know, every time and again about, you know, am I doing things to kind of push forward, or am I doing anything to help to hold back, or am I doing anything to build up, or I'm doing anything to tear down? So, but you know, what like the partner says, it's always going to be an issue. It's always going to be a problem. It's always going to be a betrayal. It's always going to be something, you know. But in the long run, we still got to come together. And not to be just be that one voice. It should be that many voices, and agree to have a voice at times, you know, when that time is needed. And then I think and that's the issue nowadays, you know, especially like you said, amongst those members of the conscious community, you know, using that issue to push their agenda, to push their beliefs, you know. And like I said, they all have very good points, you know, but also at the same time, is it tearing down or is it building up? That should always be the main focus. What is it doing? Exactly. Is it pushing us forward? Is it holding us back? You know, those are always the directions always should be considered. All right. But once again, I want to thank toexposeyou.com for putting us on. You know, Mr. Ray, Mr. Darryl. You know, we didn't get to go to the strip club and celebrate, you know, your birthday, Darryl. But you know, we got you next time. You know, we'll hit up if, you know, find us a few scholarships. You know, like I said, you can check this out again on the number 2, xposu.com. You find, you know, myself on Facebook, William Coleman, Atu Shakur. They need to change their damn name.
I did change it. I go by Dookie. That's right. I am Dookie. And if you don't know what that is, I'm going to tell y'all whole year of 2003 was dumb because y'all was not listening to Outkast.
Thank you for watching. Like I said, we just said shout out to our family up in North Carolina, those that are dealing with the stuff with the flood. Please hang in there. We're praying for you. Thank you for chiming in once again to check us out. Sports Talk is coming up. It's going to be interesting as well. Please tune in. Is there anything else you want to say?
Yes.
Besides, don't say nothing about you being Dookie. That's cool.
No. I would like to say, you know, right now we're in an interesting time in our culture and in society altogether. And one thing we have to understand is the best way to keep people from being united is to drop grenades that separates. So when you sit here and you wondering why things are being moved forward, agendas are being moved forward, it's because they're dropping little things to keep us divided. Most importantly, remember, we are a month away from elections. This is important because guess who's being elected in these? These are the senators, congressmen and things like that. But more importantly, these are judges. Judges. Let me see why judges are important, because who sits on that bench governs the rules and regulations of the law. And sometimes those people may have their own agenda. Or
But what is it overall they do? They set precedents.
Exactly. So we got to really be mindful and understand this is not something that just affects not only the African American community, but all communities all around. When you realize that how important your voice is, once again, your voice is important. And if you feel like it's not important, guess what you need to do? You need to create a super PAC. You need to create your own candidates. You need to build your own candidates. And I'm always big on that. Build your own candidates. If you want your agenda to get done, you build your own candidate, build your own campaign, and you put the funding behind it. Remember, that's what wins.
Okay. All right. Well, that being said, thank you for tuning in to Sports Talk with Taylor and Coleman. Y'all have an excellent morning. I'm sorry, damn, my bad. It's tongue tied. Okay, correction. It's tongue tied. Sports Talk is coming up next, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you for tuning in. Y'all have a good morning. Like I said, Sports Talk is next. Tongue tied is concluded. We out.